And got me tracked down. Well,
I got a charger.
okay.
There's usually a charger up here.
I got one.
It doesn't work very well.
Yeah,
the slowest charger
it's the
in the
slowest
world.
ever. I have a little one that you like, a little portable little thing you can take with you, like a little bank or whatever. That thing charges faster than that thing does. Yeah, last night.
I'm asking, did she click on the AFR link? Okay, that'll be perfect. I just permission. Okay, my permission meeting is 5 minutes. My thinking is if we try to schedule some time in person, to try to work through this online. You know.
Big part. Yeah, it's going, must be something from the tributary. I know when the tributary, something going on there, they back out. Yeah, they show up.
Actually, there is one on that road, but it's not, I think it's just for a special land use permit.
Good evening, and welcome to the City of Douglasville's Planning Commission meeting. I am Francisco Artley, the chairman of the Planning Commission. The other members of the Planning Commission are Keith Burnett, the vice chair, Natalie Fegan, Nathan Zachary, Joy Bates, Ralph Benton, and Mark Van. The staff members are Shayla Reed, Community Development Director, Miranda Jordan, Staff Attorney, Marissa Jackson, Planning and Zoning Administrator, and Chelsea Tubbs, Planner 1. There are a few protocol items I need to make you aware of before we start the meeting. Please listen closely on how tonight's meeting will be conducted. Keep your comments and presentation on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this commission to make its decision. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. You will receive a warning from the chair if you deviate from this requirement. A second deviation will result in a request for you to leave the meeting and the premises for the evening. Refrain from any applause or comments from the audience. Only one person will be talking at a time, and all comments will be made at the podium after the speaker has been recognized by the chair. Please direct all comments to the chair and the commission, not to the audience or the staff. Please do not applaud or react to speakers, speak from the audience, cheer, carry on a conversation with others in the audience, or disrupt the order of this meeting in any way. Be aware that these hearings are not a debate or an opportunity to ask questions which must be answered by any individual tonight, but are merely an opportunity to present information to the commission. Other than the applicant, no person may speak more than once. The applicant may reserve part of their speaking time as a rebuttal and may speak next and last and may use the entire 20 minutes allotted for the pro side of the application. Other than the applicant, no person may speak longer than 5 minutes. If you have a cell phone or any other electronic device, I ask that you either power them off or put them in silent mode. If anyone wishes to speak tonight, please fill out a form available on the table up front and hand it to the staff before approaching the podium. After each case is called, we will hear next from the Planning and Zoning Administrator, and then we will hear from the applicant or their representative about their plans for the property, along with any other relevant information they wish to present. The commission members will be free to ask questions at any time before the vote is on a project. Following the applicant, anyone who wishes to speak for or against the project or just ask questions will have an opportunity to do so. The city ordinance restricts each side to a maximum of 20 minutes, or time may be waived at the discretion of the presiding official. If questions are raised, we may ask the applicant to speak again. Afterward, we will call for a motion and a second, have any necessary discussion, and if the matter is not tabled, we will vote to recommend approval or denial of the application. This commission is only a recommending body. The items will be heard by the mayor and council whether we recommend approval or recommend denial. Unless tabled, these items will be heard by the city's mayor and council at their legislative meeting on Thursday, February 16th, and then voted upon by them at their meeting on the following Monday, February 20th. Our first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion on the minutes from January 10th? Do I have a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the minutes from the January 10th meeting.
A second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, the minutes from January 10th have been approved. The first case is item 23-050. Hold a public hearing and consider a request for a change in zoning from PUD Planned Unit Development District to PUD Planned Unit Development District for plus or minus 113.489 acres located on Brook Hollow Drive in Land Lot 77, District 1, Section 5, Parcel 0070150014, and Land Lot 78, District 1, Section 5, Parcel 0078015051. Application by Abdel Mahadi and Al Husani Salam. Staff will now present the item.
Good evening, Planning Commission and community members.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So as mentioned, our first case is a rezoning from PUD to PUD for the Brookmont subdivision. Essentially, there are some design guidelines that we're going to talk about, and the applicant would like to change them. They were originally put into the PUD ordinance, and they're just changing some of the lot sizes. So I think originally entitled was 117 units, and the applicant would like to change it to 217 units. This is an image of kind of the subdivision. There are two different sections of the subdivision that will have entrances into the new phase that they're currently developing. The immediately surrounding area is also zoned PUD and R2 single-family residential, and the future land use for this site is low-density residential. Low-density residential recommends 2 units per acre, so this site will go over the density requirement significantly if approved. The challenge is that it's part of a large, already established subdivision, and the intent of the original PUD, which was entitled in 2003, was to have, a mixture of different housing types and styles. And so the staff comments, the request for rezoning is an amendment to the plan approved in 2003, as I mentioned. The density on this one is going to be 7.62 units per acre, plus or minus. As I mentioned, the future land use recommends 2 units per acre, but it's also relevant to note that adjacent in the same development is an already established subdivision that's 7.92 units per acre. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Will the applicant come forward and state their name and address for the record? Tell us what you intend to do on this property.
Sorry. Good evening. My name is Jonathan Telenis with HRC Engineers at 6554 Church Street, Douglasville, representing Mahdi on this development. So thank you, Marissa, for going over it. Originally, so this proposed development is on an undeveloped portion of the Brookmont overall master plan, which was originally planned to have single-family estate-style lots, about 120 to 130 on this piece of property. Through talks with the Brookmont POA, we've run by them a higher density in this area. The overall density on the parcel will be about 1.9 with the 217 lots on 113.5 acres. However, there's, I guess, a different way of calculating density based on the lot sizes, which is making it seem like this higher number. But as Marissa mentioned, it's very similar to some of the other pods in there. The 3 different types of lots that are going to be developed, the meadows, the cottages, and the estates, all mimic styles of houses that already exist in the Brookmont subdivision to try and create a continuity of visual and house styles in this new phase.
Okay. Are there any questions from the members?
How many styles currently are in the subdivision?
I believe there are 4 total styles. In addition to the meadows, estates, and cottages, there's also a reserve style, which is an intermediate between the estates and the meadows. I know that just throwing names is kind of meaningless. It's a
How many of each?
how many of each? It's pretty well divided. The main stretch of Brookmont is primarily the estates lots, with a few branch offs that go into the reserve estates, or sorry, reserve meadows and cottages. I don't have exact counts of how many of each on hand.
But you're saying that those already exist today?
Correct, and there are already fully developed pods with those.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
And I had just one question for clarity. Did I understand that it was originally 117 homes that were going to be built, and you're proposing now 217?
It was, I think, about 125, but yes, we are adding 94 units to the previously proposed. This was rezoned back in the early 2000s, and this particular parcel has been left undeveloped since 2003. So this was an attempt to be able to develop it and build some homes in that area.
Can you help us understand the, so like the names? I mean, I've been over there a handful of times, but we don't really know what that means. Like
Yeah.
the estates are homes with 2,500 square feet to 5,500 square feet, or I think it would be good for everyone to kind of understand what the mix is and, help us speak builder.
Okay, absolutely. So again, I don't have exact numbers with me right now, but I do know the estates lots are the larger homes that you'll see on the main drive on Brook Hollow Drive through there. I don't know the square footage of those houses, but I know they tend towards the larger, definitely above 2,500 square feet. The reserve lots are slightly smaller, sorry, so those are on, I think about 10,000 square foot lots, or above. The reserve lots are slightly smaller. They're still all of these are single family detached, but they kind of de-escalate in size of the unit from estate being the largest to reserve, then meadows, then cottages.
So it looks like from the plan, there's 3 lots that are going to be estate lots,
Correct.
and then the lion's share are meadow, and then cottages.
Yes, that is correct.
So 170 and then 44, right?
Yes,
I'm assuming Brookmont has a HOA?
correct.
Did
They
you
do.
meet with the HOA?
Yes, so we have met with the HOA and we presented this plan to them and have their approval.
You have their approval? Okay. Thank you.
So when you say, I mean, because I kind of, when I read this, going from 123 to 217, and I look, because I actually live in Saddlebrook, which backs up to this area here. And to me, I kind of wondered how much of this green space is really going to be taken up if you go to the full 217, because I see your diagram here as far as how the houses are really going to be packed in there. I mean, side yard is 5 feet from like between each house?
So there'll be a total of 10 feet between houses. The side setback is from the property line.
Okay, 10 feet is not very far. I mean, that is not very far. So the yards are really small. And it looks like you're trying to cram a lot of homes in that small area, especially with, I mean, when you give the 3 lots 15,000 square feet minimum lot size, which are kind of separate from everybody else. So it's
Yeah,
kind of
it's
like we're
like-
going to build three big houses here, and then we're going to put little ones over here, so you can't see them. And then we're going to jam them in this area, because if you're saying you want to do this in 113 acres, but I'm looking at your diagram here, trying to wonder how much green space is going to be saved, how much are you actually using for houses out of the 113? Are you going to put these 217 homes on, let's just say, 80 acres or 70 acres, or?
So 57% or 65 acres of the property will remain as green space. So that is about, about 50 of acres is going to be developed.
For 217 homes?
Correct.
Do you know the price points between, for the estates, meadows, and the cottage?
I'm going to request that applicant Marty comes up and assist me with that answer.
Hello.
My name is Mahdi Al-Husseini. I'm the applicant here. What you see here as a diagram, this is actually a combined effort between us, our engineers, and the HOA, the homeowner associations. And as our Keith was asking about I think Mark was asking about the component of Brookmount. It consists of 7 different villages, if I may call them. And they range in the price, how much they have been selling for, and also they range in the sizes.
Could you please speak in the microphone?
Yes, right. So what we have over there, the prices that we are proposing to build, and this is again based upon the request from the HOA president that would like to build more affordable homes. Right now in the estate section, for example, right now they're requiring to have 4,000 square feet in a slab and 5,500 square feet in a basement. And to build that, you have to sell it around $800,000. And I still own about 64 lots over there, not buildable. I mean, we have not built on them because we cannot sell them. The price range is too high. Now, the HOA, the president, Oric Corey, he said, Marty, why don't we do something so we can help the community, we help the county to have more affordable housing? And that's why we changed it from 123 right to this number. And another factor with that when they came up with the original conceptual plan for 123 lot, they did not do the soil test. And when we did the soil test, we could not really build houses over there because it was very hard to build because there are rocks. And I don't know how many of you has a chance to visit Brookmount, and probably you've seen rocks all over. Mm-hmm. And that's why we shifted it around. Now, the president of the HOA, he made sure that we have to keep the following. We need to make sure that we are not going to build brand new homes over there that are not the same as in the community. Right now, we have over 600 homes already built in the community. And now these homes, they start like with townhomes, right? And then we have something called, after that, the enclaves, and then we have the states, we have the reserves, and we have the meadows, and we have the cottages. And after a long discussions with the HOA, and that's how we came up with that. Now, the price ranges is going to be, we're going to start, instead of starting with $800,000 to $1 million for the 123 lots, we're going to start around $350 to $400. So the price range is going to be between $350 to $450. By doing so, so we're going to give the community the opportunity to buy more homes. Number 2, we're going to follow the following. We're going to meet the requirement, the minimum requirement for these homes, single-family homes, not only for the city, but also for the county, and also for your information, the minimum requirement for these homes is more higher when it comes to the HOA. All right? Now, for example, now these houses, we're going to start them around 2,200. All right, for what we refer them to the cottages, and for the meadows, they're going to be even more than the existing homes in the meadows. We're going to start them around 2,500. So we are not building cheaper homes. We are not building smaller homes. We are going to build bigger homes than what's already in the community. And we are meeting the minimum requirement for the lots. And as our engineer Jonathan stated, right, we're going to have plenty of a green space, so the community can enjoy. In addition, the other reason behind having a lot of green space, because we're going to build trails around for the community to walk around and to enjoy, the scenery over there. So that's another requirement from the HOA. They say, Marty, try to leave as much green space as possible. All right, we're going to build the trails over there for the people they can enjoy to walk around it. And that's why we came up with that. And also this is based upon the soil test that we've done over there. So this is the best configuration. So ladies and gentlemen, what you are seeing here is none of that out of the norm. We are not asking for any variances. We are not asking to build cheaper home or a smaller home. We are building homes over there bigger than some of the homes existing over there. We are meeting, and we are willing to meet all the requirements that the HOA is asking us to meet when it comes to the lot size, when it comes to the home size, when it comes to the quality of building these homes. So that's why we are here in front of you to seek your approval and a blessing in our plan. Did I answer your questions here?
I think I got off a little bit. Maybe I missed something. I thought
Yes.
the question was about price point. So we started at 800,000 up for the estates, 350 to 400 for the meadows. But then we start talking $2,200 when we start talking about cottages. So are the cottages rentals only, or would they be sold as well?
Well, we already have cottages already developed and built and sold in the community. And the reason we have these cottages built over there, and again, that's a request from the president of the HOA.
So this plan that we're looking at now, you've already building.
We're going to build. These are the cottages over here, and these are the meadows.
Understand?
Yes, sir.
So again, I'm just talking price for the cottages.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I missed that, and I'm just
The
trying to get
prices,
some
I'm
clarity.
sorry. Yeah, yes, sir. The prices, then we're going to start them around $350 for the cottages. And for the meadows, they're going to be around $350 to $400. And the differences between the numbers I'm giving, because some of them, they're going to be in a basement, and some of them are going to be in a slab. And this price range, as I said earlier, is going to offer more opportunities for the people, to go, to live over there. And as I said earlier, I still own over there 64 lot in the estate section, right? That I cannot sell, I cannot build. I mean, you know how, who can afford $800 to $10 million home, right? And I have been owning this lot since what? Since 2000, since J. Dubrock. You heard about J. Dubrock? The guy who, he passed away, rest in peace. He developed the whole community. He has a vision. And he did that. So therefore, instead of sitting on this land, right, and that 64 lot, and also the 123 for another 100 years, so we're coming here to go ahead and see if we can build on them, all right, and we can help people to move in and, achieve one of the American dreams. And again, this is not only my idea, that's the idea of the homeowner association, how to change it from 123 to this number here.
Now, is this the final plan, or are you looking at eventually if you get approval for this, to expand on those roads and keep going up to eat up that 65 acres that's left in green space? Or
Well,
is this set as far as what you plan on doing?
With the 65?
Yeah, are you leaving that 65 acres green space, or later on, are you going to say, hey, I could plop another homes in here?
No, not. That's our commitment. We're going to deed it to the homeowner association. All right, in order for us to have trails over there, dog parks, whatever, for them to enjoy it. We're not going to use it in the future. We're going to leave it. All right, it's going to be part of the HOA, and it's going to be deed back to them, or to give it to them when we finish.
Okay.
Did I understand you to say that that the soil won't allow you to build on the 65 acres?
Well, no, they are buildable, right? But then we are not going to be able, to do what we're planning to do, because it's solid rocks. So we have to import soil about 2-3 feet. I mean, it's going to be costly. I mean, it's not going to happen. Nobody will do that. I mean, from a cost perspective, and for sure, you understand that the building process is because you have to put the pipes, the plumbing, right, somewhere, and you cannot put it in. And these rocks, they're just solid rocks. And for sure, some of you already been to Stone Mountain, right? It's the same one piece of rock that you cannot do. And then, since we already have houses over there, I mean, we cannot do blasting. I mean, you know, they're not gonna allow us to do that in case if we have to do it. So this is really the best version, and God knows how many times we tweaked it around. In order for us, we came in an agreement, you know, with the blessing of the HOA. And I can assure you, the HOA we have in that community is the best. I mean, they care about the community, they care about, you know, how the houses look like, they care about the square footage, they care about, you know, the size of the lots. And this is after a lot of studies between our engineers and their engineers. And Oric Corey, who was here, because he's a member of the planning commission for the Douglas County. This is why he's not here. If he was here, I would have him to do the presentation to you. But I think he spoke with Marissa, and he told her, you know, to confirm that he's in agreement with that, right?
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Any question? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the project, ask questions, or make other comments? Please come forward and tell us your name and address.
Hello, my name is Pennington Green, and I'm in favor of it. I've been in Douglasville since 2005. I actually developed some land on the Chattahoochee River on 166 called Tuscany Hills. 1 to 3 acre lots, and ran into a lot of challenges trying to get that piece of property off the ground. We're still sitting with 101 lots, and the fact is the size of the homes and the price point became quite a challenge. I'm also involved with the estates at Brookmont, the investor. I actually brought him to the table. So we're starting to get some good traction, but with the market turning, the interest rates going up, it just made it a little more difficult to get people approved for the houses. But we are building and getting close. We actually have some grading done, and we're about to put slabs in. So when we talked to the Homeowners Association, and they talked about the opportunity to provide more houses, and they kind of massaged it and tried to figure out what made the most sense. And it seems that talking to all the people in the industry, they say that it's not enough housing or for apartments and or housing for people to purchase, and this affords the community an opportunity to provide some housing. And the Homeowners Association is super tough. When we came into the community, they scrutinized every move we made in reference to roof pitch, size of house. They don't leave any stones unturned. They have an architectural board that actually works with the builders, such as ourselves, to make sure everything's up to standard. So if they blessed it, I can assure you that Oric is very diligent and that he wouldn't do anything that's going to hurt the community. And once again, it affords the opportunity for more tax dollars, more revenue, but done in a quality way, which supports and benefits everyone.
Can I get your address, sir?
My address is 4153 Stillwater Point. I live in Ellenwood, Georgia, 30294.
Okay. Did anybody from the Brookmont homeowners come tonight or anything to speak about this?
I think Oric was trying to get here, but unfortunately he didn't make it.
Okay, all right. Any questions? Any? Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Is there anyone who would like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Is there any need for any further discussion?
I just had one question, and I don't know if this is in order for us to consider, but it's burning in me.
Okay.
I know that we are doing a lot of development in Douglas, and appropriately so, but do we ever consider the impact to the schools? Is there any element that considers what our
I kind of wondered that too as I reviewed this, because as many developments that have been approved, and especially since we have the one going over by the mall, we have the ones that, or, you know, the county has some going on Fairburn. There is the ones over off of, by Midway Road. I mean, we have all those going over there. And I'm looking at the schools, and here's another 217 homes going in, which is going to affect those schools around, and the services in that area.
Yes, sir. So we do consult with the school board as part of our development review process. The school board receives the applications, and they participate in our pre-application meeting so that they are aware of the new developments that are coming in, so that they can help to also plan accordingly. Something that we can discuss a bit later is I've seen situations where sometimes we'll have additional conditions that say, we recommend an area for a school bus stop or things like that we can incorporate into the plan if you're concerned about things we can do to the actual development site to help accommodate children.
Okay, because I just kind of wondered what, with all the development that's been approved and that's going on, and I mean, even by Settlebrook, we have Presley Mill, they've got that new subdivision. Here, is another one. Everybody says they want to build homes so people can have affordable homes to buy, but when you build too many homes, who's going to come buy them all? There's only so many that can't be bought, and then what happens to the ones that are not purchased? The developer decides then to sell them to an investor or turns them into rental homes, and then you have a ton of rental homes in this community, and I think if that happened in some of these other ones, 800,000 in half the neighborhood is rentals. So I think, and that's why I kind of wonder, as far as the city, when a developer comes forward, says we want to plop another 100, 200, 250 homes, well, do you have a map that's saying, well, we got development here, we have development there, we got development there?
Yeah, we don't have a specific map that shows where developments are as they pertain to schools, but we do consult with the school board, and they are a part of our development review process. So they do see, all of the applications that we receive before they come to you guys.
Right.
So they are in the loop and involved in our planning process.
Thank you.
And I know I had that discussion, but I had one more thing that you actually, Chairman, made me think about. I didn't see anything about rental limitations in this development. Is there anything about rental limitations?
Thank you. You already raised a good concerns about the schools. You addressed it. About rental, the homeowner association, they were not allowed rental. So these homes, they were not going to be rented. And also to add to that, we already done a traffic study. We already done a sewer analysis and water study, and it's good. It's good. And we have the report, we share the traffic study report with Marissa. So, we did that.
Thank you, sir.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion on this matter? Do I have a motion regarding this application?
I'll make a motion that it be granted.
That we what?
I'll make a motion that it be approved.
Okay.
Second.
There's a second. All right, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
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 Opposed. All right. So how many did we have?
3, 4, and 2 against.
3, 4, and 2 against? So we're missing a vote.
So 4 against, 4, and 2 against.
Is that correct? Everyone's vote?
I don't s-
Huh?
I don't see your vote.
He doesn't vote.
I only vote in a tiebreaker now.
Okay.
Right, so,
We can vote by raising hands, and that might clear it up for us if you like.
okay. All right. But if everybody's fine with their vote, then that's fine. right. All right, the motion passes and the application is recommended for approval. Thank you, sir. The second case is item 23-051. Hold a public hearing and consider a request for a change in zoning from R2 Single Family Residential Detached District to PRD Planned Residential Development District for plus or minus 1.9 acres located on 6470 Elise Street in Land Lot 19, District 1, Section 5, Parcel 001901500013. Application by Sheraton Jones. Staff will now present the item.
May I have my presentation, please?
It's okay.
So, our next application is a request for rezoning at 6470 Elsie Street. The applicant would like to rezone from R2 to PRD to build a quadruplex and a triplex. The site is currently in distress. I believe there was an accident or a fire there, and from my understanding, it has been vacant and abandoned for some time now. This is the site. It's currently zoned R2. To the north is a PUD development, which is zoned for quads. And then to the east is an LI, which is light industrial. And then the south and west are also zoned R2, which is a single-family residential zoning district. The future land use designation in this instance is traditional residential. And in general, this was organized for single-family homes that kind of had a traditional character. And there we are. I think at this point, it's important to note that the UDO states that in order to have a PRD rezoning, a minimum of 2 acres is required, and this site is 1.92 acres. So it's slightly under the recommended acreage for PRD. So basically, that's one of the major issues that staff has is the acreage. Another challenge that we're having is that the future land use here is traditional neighborhood, and PRD wasn't part of the future land use plan for the traditional neighborhood land use, and so that's another concern or challenge that we had as we bring this particular rezoning request forward. And that concludes my report.
Are there any questions from the members? All right. Will the applicant come forward and state their name and address for the record? Thank you. Tell us what you intend to do on this property.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Sheraton Jones, and my address is 8038 Colquitt Street in Douglasville, Georgia. And first of all, I want to say thank you very much to the ladies over there that have helped me get to this point. So, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So as I mentioned, my name is Sheraton Jones, and I'm actually a Douglasville resident at Ward 3. Funny story, this is a 5-minute walk from where I currently live today. And I was also part of the Dose of Douglasville program. That program really encouraged me to try to make some change here. And that's why I stand up here in front of you today. I share here that I have my bachelor's and master's degree. I only share that just to let you know that I'm a go-getter. I try my best effort to get things done, and that's been proven in the past. So as mentioned before, that's the current state right now. It is a complete dump zone. You've got tires, you've got mattresses, and previous fire damage. It's been vacant at least for 7 years or so, and unfortunately, the current zoning that is placed today really limits the use of the land. I'm asking for a PRD zoning, and if I stand corrected, PRD used to be R6, and according to the future land use, that then allows PRD zoning. So here I have some pictures I've taken. So in that first picture there, I'm standing on Colquitt Street and Elsie Street. You'll see there 3 quadplexes on that street alongside 2 duplexes, 2 units, 3 4 units. You make your way to the second picture there. You're facing now Elsie Street. Part of that 3rd 4 unit is sitting on Elsie Street, and it is across from a church. You make your way down that street, you see 4 townhomes to the left and 4 townhomes to the right. And then lastly, the actual property neighbors the 4 townhomes alongside the church. So what you see here is multiple multi-families in the neighborhood. If you're not familiar with the area, it is about a 20-minute walk from downtown Douglasville. And as we know, that's where the future town green is coming. So with that development, we can best believe that Douglasville is going to be growing, adding in some new residents. And so additional housing would be great for this neighborhood, alongside that the city has mentioned that they have a focus in the New Horizon area. So in this next slide here, I'm showing you the screenshot of the GIS tool and where the red flags are located. In the first 3 red flags on Colquitt Street is actual quad 4 units, and you see what the parcel sizes are there. So what that tells you, 4 units don't need 0.4 acres, they don't need, they see as little as 0.35 acres that a 4 unit currently sits on. And then next door are those 2 townhomes, communities with 4 units on each side. Here is just a quick site plan. You see so much land's going to be still there, alongside with the parking and the proposed 4 unit. I've only proposed here a quadplex. And as part of the process, of course, I have to speak with building, water and sewer, fire. They gave me their best wishes on that. So here's some quick renderings of what it looks like. Again, rezoning to planned residential development. We're talking real close here from 1.9 to 2 acres, but allowing to build 4 housing options for potential rental community. We're looking at 2-bed, 2-bath style housing, and really roommate style, because that option's not really available at the moment here in City of Douglasville. Alongside the opportunity to provide more tax opportunities for our streets and for our roads, I just want to mention here some of the supporting details about what the city has said. Pulled from the City of Douglasville Community Development Department itself and the mission statement, which I want to highlight a point where they mention continuing to foster smart and innovative growth in the community. And that's exactly what that will do here with this rezoning. Want to focus at the bottom to the right. You'll see here where I've pulled from the Douglasville Housing Assessment from 2021 about the shortage of units. And I focused on the 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, so we're looking at 260 to 880 units short. So we know there is a demand, and it is mentioned multiple times here in the Douglasville Housing Assessment about the missing middle housing. You see in there that graph, missing middle housing includes duplexes, 4plexes, and so forth. So I fit right in that missing middle housing that Douglasville assessment addresses. And you'll see to the right, we've got plenty of single-family homes, but we're not that many missing middle housing. So here, my last part, just asking for agreement here, what you've setting the Douglasville housing assessment on the community vision, especially number 3, rezone and add zoning categories that allow for smaller residential lots to improve the mix of housing options. So that's what I'm asking we do today. And lastly, just want to say thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Is there any questions?
I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
Thank you for that. That was very well done. So you're proposing to put just one quadplex, correct? Okay. And what's your intended use for that? You're going to try to sell the individual units? You're just going to rent, whatever?
My intent is to rent them.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you for the presentation that answered some questions that I had prior to you showing that. I'm not in disagreement with what you're proposing at all. I think, and I maybe have to ask a question to staff is, there are some guidelines that are there, and I don't know what has to take place to get around those guidelines for the 2 acres, right? Do I have the authority to say, it is good, it sounds good, so forget, what the development plan says. I don't know. I can say that doesn't mean I can get away with that. So I don't know if some type of variance or something can be employed, along with this. So I wanted to let you know where I stand with what you're trying to do, and then also I still have to, follow some specific guidelines. So I'm for you, but I want to be sure that we do things in order with that. So I just wanted to make that statement.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the project, ask questions, or make other comments? Please come forward and tell us your name and address.
Hello, thank you so much. My name is Tracy Roberts, and my address is 1267 Winford Colony Southwest in Marietta. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak here. I'm a little nervous. I've never done anything like this before. So first of all, I'm friends with Sheraton. I've known her for several years now, and of course I'm here supporting her in what she's doing. But I'm also here because you probably don't realize this, but I am the actual owner of this property. Okay, so I thought you might like to know how that came to be and why I am the owner. So Sheraton came to me saying that she found this land with a burned down house on it and on around 2 acres and right in her neighborhood where there's a mix of single families, quads, townhomes, duplexes, just a whole mix. And I drove around the neighborhood with her, and I really liked what I saw. And, people talk so much about a lack of good, clean housing, and here she is trying to do something about it. And so I thought that was just great. And I was like, great, Cher, go for it. So she found the owners, and she struck a deal to buy it. But then she learned how involved the process was to get it rezoned and how much time it takes. So the owners didn't want to wait that long for her to know that she could get it rezoned before she bought it. So then there was a quandary, and what do you do? So we talked about it, and I'm not a wealthy person by any means, but I found a way to buy this land, and I'm essentially holding it for her while she goes through this process that we're in right now, so that she can do what she so eloquently presented to you. So I'm in support of it, and I just thought you might like to know that part of the story, which I think is probably a little unusual. So thank you for your time, and I hope that it works out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who'd like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Is there any need for any further discussion? Do I have a motion regarding this application?
I'll make a motion, we approve the application.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
All right, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes and the application is recommended for approval. Thank you. The third case is item 23-054. Hold a public hearing and consider a request for a change in zoning from PUD, Planned Unit Development District, to PUD, Planned Unit Development District 4, plus or minus 11.77 acres located on 7125 West Strickland Street in Land Lot 193, District 2, Section 5, Parcel 0193025 Alpha 004. Application by Casey Hart and Sean Bennett. Will staff present the item?
Hello again. So our next application is a request to rezone from PUD to PUD for a 91-unit townhome community. This is the actual site. Currently, there is a home on the site. And you can see this is the site on West Strickland. It's adjacent to another PUD to the east, and to the rear, it's mostly zoned R3, which is single-family residential district. The future land use designation is traditional residential, and again, like our previous application, this one is mostly used for older homes, single-family homes, things like that. It is in compliance with the future land use plan. When the future land use plan was originally created, we had the design concept district, and that changed to the planned unit development district. So it is in compliance with the future land use plan. You can see this is right on the edge of that land use area. Staff would, if approved, staff would recommend some conditions on this one. We would recommend a minimum of a 3-foot stagger on the townhome. So what that means is each townhome will have a 3-foot difference between the front of the house. And so that just makes it so that they're not all in a row and there's like some depth to them. We would recommend turnarounds at the dead end areas of the street, so that cars don't get backed up. If there's an emergency, it might be easier for the emergency personnel, fire, police to get in and move around. Our development code requires that all townhome units have a fire sprinkler system to protect property and people. And also, we would recommend a right turn deceleration lane. That just kind of makes it so that the traffic doesn't back up on West Strickland and makes it easier to get in and out of the development. And that concludes my report. Are there any questions?
I just had one question for clarity. On the zoning change, the initial one had a stipulation that it had this country club, so that needed to be removed. Is that accurate?
From my understanding, the country club is being removed and sold and developed separately as a different parcel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that helped me a little bit. All right.
But the applicant is also here, who can also speak to what the future plans are for that site.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Will the applicant come forward and state their name and address for the record? Tell us what you intend to do on this property.
Certainly. If I can get my presentation up, that'd be great. Thank you, everyone. My name is Michelle McCauley. I work with Gaskins LaCroix. We're located at 3475 Corporate Way in Duluth, Georgia. It's my pleasure to be before you tonight on behalf of the property owners and the applicant. As Marissa said, I'm going to do a quick presentation to basically review what Marissa's presented to you and give you some more information on the project. The owners of the property are seeking to rezone the subject property from PUD to PUD for the purpose of a concept plan approval for the development of 91 single-family townhomes. In addition to the rezoning request, my clients are seeking to remove the special use permit for a country club that was approved back in 2005. I'll go ahead and answer your question now about that. There is a condition that special use permit for a country club, we're just seeking to remove it completely from them. Yeah. The subject property is 11.77 acres. It's located on West Strickland Street and is currently developed with an event center in the existing historic home. The property is just west of downtown and is in the immediate vicinity of several subdivisions, including Brayland Manor to the north, Ashley Falls to the west, and Rosewood to the south. Here's a copy of the zoning map. It is currently zoned PUD. The intent tonight is to seek your approval to recommend a new concept plan for this PUD. So that is why we're rezoning from PUD to PUD, to change the concept plan. Other nearby zoning districts, as mentioned before, include R3, R2, the PUD, which is currently development to the east of us, which has apartments, and the GC just to the southwest corner. Here's the land use map. I guess, as Marissa presented, we are in the traditional neighborhood future land use, which encourages smaller residential lots. So here's what makes this project very unique and why we're excited to bring it to you. The proposal is for a 91-unit townhome on this property and also to protect the existing house. It is going to be converted to office use and donated to an organization called Share House. And there is representatives here tonight from Share House that can discuss their organization with you further, but the intent is for this historic property to remain intact and just to change use. It's currently is being used in a commercial use for an event center, but it will transition to an office use. Here's our concept plan. This shows the 91 single-family townhomes. These are in gray. These will be for sale townhome units. The plan also shows in blue the roadways and the stormwater facility that are, these are excluded from our density calculation as required by code. The open space here is shown in green. There we include an amenity area, which is, I don't guess this has a pointer, it's just behind the parking area. The area in yellow is the existing house, and that is the portion of the property that would be donated. It's just over an acre to the Share House. The remaining green area will be part of the HOA common area and also part of the amenity for the community. The proposal is to utilize the existing access for the Share House offices and then create a new access that would just be for the townhome community. As a requirement of the PUD, there was a traffic study performed and there was no recommendation of any additional traffic improvements. As a part of staff's recommendations, we are showing a decel. We already had that included in our proposal. And with that, I'd like to allow for some time for the Share House to come speak if they would like to do so.
I do have one question.
Sure.
They would come speak
Sure, that's fine. Go ahead.
You mentioned the decel lane was already included. Do the developers have any issues with the recommendations from staff?
Well, we just received staff's recommendation today, and there would just be a sort of a clarification. We believe that our plan, as shown here, meets all the conditions of zoning. We're already showing the stagger. So I guess the question is of staff's is, so when you have the street there, does this have a pointer on it if I point? Can you see this if I point to that part of the drawing? So that's 134 feet. The fire code says you don't need a turnaround until you get to 150 feet. So we believe that this concept plan is consistent with staff's recommended conditions. There will be sprinkled homes, and we have this 3-foot stagger, and we have the decel lane, and we feel that we met the recommendation for the dead-end street. So that's more of a question of staff, but.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
I just want to be sure I got that clarity on the turnaround. You said your plan does not include a turnaround because there's 150, is less than 150
We
feet?
believe it meets the definition of a turnaround. So
Okay.
in the fire code, you are required to have either a cul-de-sac or a hammerhead when you exceed 150 feet in length. This, from this point of this intersection here to the end here is 134. So we don't believe that we are required to provide an additional cul-de-sac at the end of the street, but that we're meeting the requirements of the code. So it's really, it's would be seeking a clarification from staff. That, on that. Sure.
Okay.
Oh, sorry about that. Shayla Reed, Community Development Director. We're asking for a turnaround conditional to what the International Fire Code requires. So with that, that means that we're not asking for a certain radius as much as what the International Code requires. And the Fire Marshal will confirm that when that plan comes about. So that condition is based on what the Fire Code requires.
Okay, thank you.
And I heard, all of the staff recommendations addressed, other than the westbound right turning, lane.
We have the
Is that-
westbound turn lane in there, yes.
Okay.
It's right here. This part. That just allows people that are pulling into the community to get out of the lane of traffic.
If I understood, I just didn't know, I didn't hear you mention it.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Are there any other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of this project, ask questions, or make comments? Please come forward and tell us your name and address.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Smith Curry. I serve as the chairperson for the Board of Directors for Share House. Share House's administrative office is located at 8460 Courthouse Square here in Douglasville, Georgia. So just a little bit about Share House Douglas, who is also doing business in Paulding County. Share House is a nonprofit organization who provides supportive services and resources for families and individuals impacted by domestic violence. We have served in this community for over 33 years, and within the last 4 to 5 years in Paulding County. Share House plans to utilize the historic property located at the said residence, at the said address, for special training events for staff, as well as monthly board meetings and any other small special events. Are there any questions?
No. Thank you. All right. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone who would like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Is there any need for any further discussion?
Just have a quick, just clarification, this is really for staff. So this property is already PUD. It's PUD with a country club, but it's already PUD.
Correct, but it has a condition that requires it for a country club only.
Got it.
So it would not allow for the single family detached they're proposing. Well, the not attached, it's not allowing for that.
Got it.
Remove that condition allowed for it.
Got it. So it's not necessarily a density thing, it's just because it doesn't fit the, I got it, okay, thank you.
Have we gotten as far as some type of plan or layout, what these will look like, what kind of price point we're gonna be in? Have we gotten that far yet?
So we have not got to the point of, and I don't represent the home builder, but what the prices will be, but these are going to be 20 by 48 single-family attached townhomes. They'll have the minimum 1,500 square feet that's required. They'll have 2 off-street parking, so there will be a garage with each unit and then a parking pad in front. And then we are providing additional parking within the community, which is often a concern within townhome communities, that there's enough parking.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, do I have a motion regarding this application?
I'll make a motion to approve item number 23-054.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passed and the application is recommended for approval. Thank you. The fourth case is item 23-055, hold a public hearing and consider a request for a change in zoning from GC General Commercial District to LI Light Industrial District for plus or minus 0.51 acres located on Veterans Memorial Highway in Land Lot 824, District 18, Section 2, Parcel 082418-20028 and 082418-20029. Application by Brandon Development Company, Arthur Brandon. Staff will now present the item.
Thank you. So this is a request to rezone from general commercial to light industrial, as you mentioned. This is currently what the site looks like today. You can see that the site is undeveloped and in distress. The adjacent parcel immediately to the west is actually zoned light industrial. It was rezoned to light industrial in June, I believe. And so if we look at this parcel is actually zoned light industrial. It was approved last year, I believe in June. And so this development is only for these two parcels here. And so this entire section right here would be zoned light industrial if this is approved. We can see that the future land use here is mixed use design, and the request is in compliance with the future land use plan. This is to kind of just expand the truck court area for the other parcel that was already approved, and staff does have some recommended conditions. The conditions that staff is recommending are basically the conditions that were already imposed on the parcel per the rezoning that was approved in June. And they speak to the need for buffering between uses that are incompatible. As you can see to the south of this area, immediately behind it, there are some residential uses. So this is the industrial use, and then these are the residential uses behind it. We're recommending that they have a 50-foot buffer, and the 50-foot buffer is a requirement from the UDO, and that just creates like a visual opaque screen so that, you know, people aren't looking straight into an industrial site from their backyard.
Okay.
And that concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Will the applicant come forward and state their name and address for the record? Tell us what you intend to do on this property.
My name is Arthur Brannon. I live at 2341 DeForest Ferry Road in Atlanta. What we're doing with this request for rezoning the half acre is basically trying to meet some of the concerns that the city council had when they passed our original 10.66 acre rezoning. And this half acre enables us, and we have some drawings here, be able to pivot the building instead of having the side of the building facing Highway 78. We have the front of the building facing Highway 78. This was the original design, and when we pick up this half acre, we take the building, we pivot it, so the front of the building will be facing Highway 78, and the truck area is behind the building, so it's not on the side of the building. So it's a big improvement for that. Also architecturally, we wanted the building to look nicer and have the glass areas facing Highway 78, so it helps that. You also see that our area in the rear is there's more green space between us and the residential, even though we have the buffer initially. Now we have more green area. So it seemed like getting this half acre actually makes everything nicer for the community and meets all the concerns they had when they originally rezoned the property. So we feel like this is a big positive. We only have one entrance this way instead of two. You know, we're going to landscape it the same. It's just a much better piece of layout. It also helps that the grades of the property go down from Highway 78 to the rear of the property. It falls. And so when you have your loading dock in the back of the building, that helps with our grades also. And so we don't have as much retaining walls as the previous design had.
Okay.
Anyway, we think it's a positive. It's gonna, really helps us out about being able to pivot the building.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board? All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of this project, ask questions, or make other comments? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Is there anyone who would like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Is there any need for any further discussion? All right, do I have a motion regarding this application?
I make a motion, we approve the application as per staff's recommendations.
And that's with the 50-foot buffer? Okay.
Second.
Oh, is there a second? Thank you. All in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes and the application is recommended approval. Thank you, sir. The fifth case is item 23-052. Hold a public hearing and consider a request for a special land use permit for a wedding venue for property zoned NC Neighborhood Commercial District, B and plus or minus .55 acres at 8667 Hospital Drive in Land Lot 50, District 1, Section 5, Parcel 05001-50086. Application by the Wedding Knot, Wanda Miller. Staff will now present the item.
Thank you. So this case is at the address 8667 Hospital Drive, and the applicant has requested a special land use permit for an event center. The site is currently zoned neighborhood commercial, and these are some photos of the facility. Okay, so we can see on the map that it's located here on Hospital Drive near the intersection. There is a residential development immediately behind it. I also would like to note that there is a vegetative buffer here so that there's some screening between the proposed event center and the residential use. We can see here that the future land use is a regional activity center, and the request is not in conflict with the future land use plan. An event center is something that we normally would see in a commercial area like this. Staff feels that it is an appropriate use. It's in the spirit of the UDO, and based on our analysis, we didn't find that it would cause a nuisance or impact the general welfare of the community. So that concludes my report. Do you have any questions?
Just to clarify, this is .51 acres, correct?
Yes.
Not 51 acres.
Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
I believe it's 0.55 acres.
Okay, half an acre.
Yeah, a little bit more than half an acre.
All right, thank you. Will the applicant come forward and state their name and address for the record? Tell us what you intend to do on this property.
Good evening. My name is Wanda Miller. My address is 7380 Riverwalk Drive, Douglasville, Georgia. This wedding venue, I know you guys listed as an event center, but I would focus totally on weddings. There is an event center a couple doors down from me, which I'll be referring them parties, things of that nature, but I want to focus on a destination wedding venue where our focuses will be mainly on chapel weddings, outdoor garden weddings, and gazebo weddings. So our chapel holds about 60, well, the fire marshal said 60. So it's a small chapel, so we hold, it would hold at least 60 guests. Our ballroom will hold at least 99 individuals on the inside. And our pavilion, that is a garden wedding venue, will hold at least 200 people.
Okay. All right. Are there any questions from the board?
Report.
Now, is this part of a church, or is it just a separate?
No, it's a wedding venue.
Just a
So,
wedding venue.
yeah, outside of other venues that just have a space open and then they create, we have a actual chapel.
Okay.
So it's just for the wedding, not the reception?
Yeah, the reception can be held in the ballroom, but we have a maximum capacity of 99.
Okay.
And so, Ms. Miller, when you say that it's a wedding event facility, would you not hold any other type of events there?
Well, maybe a retirement, but no parties, like it's my 20th or something. No, I want to focus basically on weddings. I put a lot of money into this venue, and so I want it to hold that elegant ambiance. So I would definitely focus mainly on if there's a retirement or if there's a wedding anniversaries and things of that nature, but my focus is weddings.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you yet had an opportunity to speak with any of the other businesses near there? Because parking, will be a
Yes.
consideration for you when you have an
Yes, sir.
event.
My neighbor is Chris Hanley, that owns Hanley Insurance. He is on board. He provided me with a letter giving us authorization to park in his parking area, because the events will be held after hours, after work hours, which is after 5 o'clock, and on the weekends. So I do have parking authorization from him, and I do also have authorization from the sheriff for parking at the courthouse.
I have a question about capacity. So the garden has 200 people, and then the ballroom is 91.
99.
So 90,
Yes, 99.
99, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So then if there are 200 people, like at the wedding, how are you going to avoid going over capacity for the reception?
Well, that would be if they rented the pavilion on the outside.
Okay,
And that would be the wedding and the reception would be held outside in the
Okay.
garden.
All right. Are there any other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the project, ask questions, or make other comments? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Is there anyone who would like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Is there any need for any further discussion? Do I have a motion regarding this application?
I make a motion to approve the application.
I second.
Okay. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes and the application is recommended approval. Thank you, ma'am. All right. The sixth case is item 23-053. Hold a public hearing and consider a request for special land use permit for job training and vocational rehabilitation services for the property zone PUD Plan Unit Development District be in plus or minus 1.57 acres at 3270 Darby Drive in land lot 155, District 1, Section 5, Parcel 015501502119, 015501502220, and 015501500103. Application by Future Seekers, Dr. Sandra Hall. Staff will now present the item.
Good evening. So the applicant has, as you mentioned, the applicant has requested a special land use permit for a job training and vocational rehabilitation service. And again, according to our Unified Development Ordinance, this particular use is required to obtain a special land use permit to operate. The site is at the entrance of the tributary subdivision. Again, it is a PUD zoning district with a general commercial base zoning. And so here we are. This is the project area here. This is tributary. It's at the entrance to the subdivision. And on the future land use plan, you can see that the future land use is mixed use design. And staff is recommending approval based on the application we received. The vocational and job training center is an appropriate use for the general commercial zoning district, and it is not expected to cause a nuisance or impact the general welfare of the community, so staff recommends approval.
Are there any questions? Thank you. Will the applicant come forward and state their name and address for the record? Tell us what you intend to do on this property.
Evening, everyone. Joe Fowler, Post Office Box 49. Good to see you all. Allow me to introduce Dr. Sandra Hall and her brother, Dr. Eddie Hall. They are the founders and operators of this organization called Future Seekers. That's an organization that provides job training, vocational rehabilitation services at the building that you see there located at 3270 Darby Drive. The services are currently being provided for middle and high school students as authorized by the ordinance currently. What she seeks to do is to expand the scope of their ministry to those who are 18 years old and older. And based on our conversations with Shayla and others on staff, that's the reason for the special use permit application. With your permission, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Hall will explain the services that they currently provide and that they'd like to expand slightly to that age bracket that I just mentioned. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you today, and thank you to the staff in particular for helping us get to this point. My name is Dr. Sandra Hall-Lay. I am the founder and executive director of Future Seekers Incorporated, of which we make 20 years in April of this year. So we have been providing youth development services to middle and high school students for all 20 years. We have provided services in school, out of school, out of school time, during school time, and during intermediary hours, which is spring break and other times that the students may have off. So our specialty is developing youth and young adults and their families. So we are a comprehensive program. And what we specialize in is providing academic tutoring services for our young people. We specialize in abstinence education, ACT, SAT prep courses. We do yoga, we do performing arts. We change every 4 years the services that we offer based on the fact that the youth change every 4 years or so. So it's a lot different from when we were younger to where we are now with the youth. So we take pride in making sure that we modify our programs to remain relevant in the community. In particular, for this project, we are looking to add, for the zoning request, to add the 18-plus year-old students. We already serve them, but we will be serving them now in this community where we will provide certifications. And you know, some students just aren't willing to go post-secondary education in a traditional college or university. So we make available for them, you know, construction training programs, certified nursing assistant programs, MSc programs, which is the Microsoft certification. Our goal is to just present students over the age of 18 with even more tools and certifications to ensure that they would have a successful future. Thank you very much.
Can we get your address, please?
Sure you can. It's 2749 Jacarner Lane, Atlanta, Georgia, 30331.
All right. Are you coming back up, Joe, or? Okay, is there any questions from the board?
Where are you currently providing services?
Well, I have Future Seekers, being that we've been around for 20 years. We've provided services with several different, with partnerships with several cities, and that's the city of Atlanta, Fulton County, and now recently, the city of South Fulton and Douglasville. So we are very happy to be in all three, and we're trying to be even more expanded throughout the state of Georgia. We have also provided services in Bibb County and other rural areas, but right now we are in those areas that are bordering right here in this district.
But do you have a standalone place where you operate?
Yes, yes. We operate in East Point. We have a facility that is considered our headquarters in East Point, and that's zip code 30344. And the other sites, like I said, we partner with the city governments because, you know, we know that there are parks and recreations, there are Atlanta Public Schools, Fulton County Public Schools, there's Douglasville Public Schools who can use our services. There's plenty of youth to go around who can benefit from the services that we offer.
I have a question for my clarity. I think I might have misunderstood. At the location that we're discussing tonight, are there activities already occurring there? Have you already started activities at that location?
No, we have not.
Okay,
Not as
okay,
of
I
yet.
just needed that for my clarity.
We're brand new.
Okay, got
We
it.
just got here.
What are the proposed hours of operation?
Traditionally, you know, we will have office hours, but then when we provide services, it could go all the way up to 6 p.m. So 8 to 5 to 6, it just depends on what the community is requesting.
And then as far as the number of students and the capacity, any concern with parking in that location?
No, sir, we don't anticipate. I believe there are like 30 spaces there at the facility, and we don't anticipate our class sizes being more than 15. So we have very small classes.
What you may have seen on the overhead, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Burnett, there are 2 vacant lots next to that for future expansion for parking if she needs it.
Okay, all right. So this, as you'd said, this is at the entrance of Tributary. So is it separate from the housing, or is it part of the, I'm just asking, have you talked to homeowners, or?
The property is standalone, and it's located within the Tributary community, but it is standalone.
Okay. I was just kind of wondering, because it looks like, I mean, there's houses all around it.
Yeah, which is a good thing for future seekers and the
Yeah.
services that we provide.
Yeah, so it's like, just kind of, right, it's that commercial part, okay. If they had talked to the homeowners about this. All right, are there any other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the project, ask questions, or make other comments? Please come forward and tell us your name and address.
Good morning, good evening. This morning somewhere. Richard Siegel, 9905 Ashford Greenway. I do live in Tributary, been there since 2006. When this building was originally built, it was the sales center for Tributary, but was also upstairs is where the closing attorneys were, Hartley Rowe and Fowler, as well as the loan officer was up there. But it was always envisioned that in the future, when construction was done, it would be just an office building or maybe some better use like a learning center of some sort. And that's what this is now happening. In fact, there was even plans for the vacant lots next to it to be another building, the twin of the existing building. So the applicant may decide in the future, instead of putting a parking lot there, building another building. But that's up to them. So yes, I am in support of this. The services that they're offering do fit in with our community. In fact, there's services I hope that my own son might avail himself of once they're up and running. And secondly, it's great because I don't see Mr. Fowler bringing us another warehouse, so that's also a win right there. So yeah, I hope the applicant does get in touch with Breezy Straighten at the Development Authority, because she works a lot on workforce development, and these are the types of services that they're looking for. And I know Mr. Fowler can help that connection be made as well. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Vincent Irving, 3154 Borough Road, Douglasville, Georgia. I'm also a resident of Tributary Village, and I have also worked in youth development my entire career. I think this aligns greatly with the culture of Tributary. I think this is a service that definitely we need more of throughout Douglasville, and I think it meets a great need. I do have some questions, though, for the applicant. I'm interested in knowing a little bit more. I want to make sure that this service isn't going to cause some type of parking issue in the community. There are a small amount of parking spots in the area, and it is surrounded by houses, so I want to make sure that clients aren't going to be parking in front of houses in the future. And also just want to know if there are any future plans for the green space. Richard said it eloquently. I thought I recognized their lawyer. And so just want to make sure that their future plans are not, anything foul with that green space, and that it will be something that will meet the needs of their type of programming. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Fowler, would you like to respond to those?
I was just going to say that we can talk to him about the parking issue between now and the meeting before the city council.
Okay.
Zoning will regulate what can happen there. If her business does well, there'd be room for her to expand. But the space on which the building sits occupies 1/3 of the property that they acquired. So there's room for expansion and for parking together. It's a perfect location for this.
All right. Thank you, sir. Is there anyone who would like to speak other than in favor of this project? Please come forward and tell us your name and address. Is there any need for further discussion?
I just had one other question for clarity. This center is not just for Tributary residents, is it? Or this is a, Douglasville-wide or citywide or statewide?
Thank you for that question, but no, it's not just for Tributary, but we do anticipate servicing a lot of families in Tributary.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Do I have a motion regarding this application?
Make a motion to approve item number 23-053.
I'll second that motion.
All right. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes and the application is recommended approval. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The last item on our agenda are staff reports. Do we have any?
Chairman, oh, I keep doing that. Sorry. So I am working with our HR department for the training that we spoke of. Marissa Jackson came up with a list of topics that we are working to have shared over with Carl Vinson Institute so that they can in fact put those items on an agenda and we can have some training opportunities moving forward. So I just wanted to follow back up with you that those training opportunities are in process. It's just that we're working through the details right now.
Okay. Will there be an opportunity for that Planning and Zoning 101 that some of us went to last year for others to go to? And I noticed, I got an email that there was a 102 class. Is there a possibility for those that have done one can do two?
So yes, earlier, well, I think it was last week, the 102 was announced. I did receive an email for that. I would have to check to see that particular training that the city manager offered was something that she offered out of her budget. I would have to ask to see how that would work, because that was something that the city did facilitate and offer as a free course for the planning commissioners. So with that, we'll have to see how that works moving forward. We may only offer the opportunity that we're working on now with Carl Vinson. So I'll make the suggestion to see if that's an option, but I can say that I am working with the city manager to have the Carl Vinson component added into operations moving forward.
Okay. I mean, if it's something they disapprove, I mean, we could attend it. We would just have to register ourselves, right?
That's correct.
All right, I'll keep my fingers crossed that the city approves it.
Make a motion, we rearrange the budget for.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before you go,
I have one, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you to the staff for the hard work you guys are putting in to keep us informed.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Thank you. So on behalf of the hard workers, I will say thank you on their behalf.
You had a comment, sir?
Yeah, it's the same comment. So you guys know that I love you and I will bend over backwards, but we need to get our stuff earlier.
So thank you for that. So
I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just saying it's tough to, like I had a funeral this weekend and so I was out of town all weekend. So I just, I know we all do. We really want to be informed and we really want to try to, do our thing, and it's rough when we get it at 5 o'clock on Friday. And we used to get them a weekend ahead of time. I know you guys got stuff too. And I'm preaching to the choir probably, but we got to get these things faster so we can put our whole heart in it. You know what I mean?
So that is always an intent. I will never say that that's something that we're not working towards. As you know, Marissa is a new employee for the team. She had 6 staff reports, 6 PowerPoint presentations to draft and complete while also doing her daily activities at work. So it's not as if she's not trying to have that information. I know. And we know your support 100%. So I just want to put on the record that it is something that we're really excited about moving forward. I will say we're growing our staff. I plan to have another planner soon to add to that group, because at first it was just Chelsea. Now look at the numbers, right? And it's getting better. It's just, in addition, we'll have an additional planner, and it will be better. It's just that struggle of trying to process the day and the applications. But we'll get there. We're getting there, but we just haven't gotten there yet.
And please, mean no disrespect at all. I get it, It's just that, everybody's got, you guys do a good job. Everybody's got deadlines and all that kind of stuff. But it's just,
It is.
it's rough to have to try to figure out what the heck's going on and figure out where they are.
Right.
6 applications. I know it's a pain for you to put them together, but I just mean we gotta, figure out what's going on and then try to figure out if we want to vote on it in a day or, you know what I mean? So I know that,
Yeah.
you got to have a cutoff. You want to try to be as accommodating to all the folks out there as possible because we owe them our due diligence and all that.
Right.
So I know you're doing your
So
best.
let
I
me just add that there's research entitled in that staff report you've got.
Yeah.
So it's not just looking at an application and putting words on a Word document, right? It's research, it's analysis, it's meetings after meetings after meetings. So it's not as simple as it probably could seem. Zoning is a very legal matter, so we have to be
For
very
sure.
precise in whatever we're putting on in writing. So just know that we are working on improving that.
Yeah, and I will say, I've spoken to that a few times, but now there's more information there now that makes it, a lot of, I've driven around enough to where I can just use the map now, right? Except for, when there's some unique situation like, I need to ride out there, but,
Yes.
the additional information is very helpful. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't want you to throw a stapler at me. I'm just, I feel like since I jumped on board, which was, I don't know, a few years ago or whatever, like the level of competency has went
Thank you.
for sure. So please don't take that the wrong way. Y'all call me, text me anytime. I don't care.
Thank you. We
so-
appreciate that.
Can we get the pictures going forward that were shown, not by the presentations, but,
By the applicants?
yeah, well, there were some pictures, I think, of some of the elevations that were shown on the screen that weren't included in here.
By the applicant, I'm sure. Yes, so that was something requested earlier. I think it was given like on Monday, so that it wasn't in your packet. So that's something that the applicant asked if they could share. So most definitely moving forward, if we can get it in a timely manner, we can ensure that it's in your packet. If not, we can move forward just doing printouts, team, of the actual information. So when it's given in the packets, those presentations are added.
Or ask them to bring enough for us to distribute
That's a
when
good
they
idea.
get here.
Okay. Most
What
definitely.
do you guys do for cutoff? Like, is there a standardized process to be like, hey,
Yes.
man, you're submitting 48 pages of stuff 3
Yes.
days before? How do y'all do that?
So the team will send you in the morning, they will send you our calendar, our zoning calendar, so that you can see how the process necessarily works. Believe it or not, this is February, but they have like a November deadline for February. But it still goes through several hands. Like, for example, you mentioned the school board. So the school board, for example, we send out this to WSA, we send it out to school board, we send it out to environmental, a number of different agencies. We have to allow for their review, wait for their review and comments to come back. Then we have to then go into an analysis, draft the report, and then, so it goes through a process over a series of weeks to months. And from there, that's a full process, right? So it's not as if we receive an application a month ago and we're able to draft a staff report like next week. That's not how it works. It has to go through advertisement requirements. It has a very lengthy process that we will send to you so you can see the steps that we're taking before it gets to you. And then even there's a legal component. So our city attorney will take some pieces and look into it. She's like, oh, don't bring me into it.
And
But-
Ms. Reed, you mentioned it goes to the school board. Is there a particular person? And I'm asking
Yes.
because someone on the school board inquired with me
Yes.
that they don't have any insight to the applications and what's being built so that they can give some input on the impact to the school district.
Yes. So every school board has a planner, right? So the three of us were planners, right? So every school board has that because they have to, in fact, plan where they're putting their schools and how impactful, any decision is going to be made for their development. So we send it to an individual. We then take that information when they receive concerns back. For example, if they have enough schooling or enough, facilities, they may not comment back. If they have plans coming into the area for schools, they may not give comments. I do know that there has been, in fact, a recent meeting that they have attended that has some concerns about impact, that you'll see where they're noting impact, and you'll see it in your staff report. So if any agency provides a comment back, very, very particular that has been providing comments has been your fire marshal. You're always going to see the fire marshal give a comment because they're very, very much consistent about providing some level of concern in the development. So that's the same that would happen with the school board. And so an additional thing that we're doing, if I can add to that, the superintendent has asked of me to give him all the permits that we have for residential, primarily just for residential. So I can say in the last few months, he's received that information, and
The
he's using
superintendent of
that.
schools?
I'm sorry?
Of schools or the fire department?
No, the school system is asking the
Mr.
superintendent.
North?
He's
Okay.
asking us to give permitting information. So when he asked that information, I gave that over. So he's seeing what permits are being processed for residential.
Okay.
That helps him to plan and envision how to move his districts forward. And so he's been very much in communication with the city on development.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
No,
I
thank
don't,
you.
I don't want
for
to
that
believe this, yeah.
information. Because, you know, we're out in the community and people know that I'm on the planning commission, and so they'll ask me. And that was one of the questions that I was asked.
Yes, I will tell you, Superintendent North spends a lot of time making sure things are prepared for his school district. I will confirm that. He reaches out to us on a regular basis.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and to Joy's point, like, when we drive around the community and we see all of these things going up, the first thoughts that come to my mind are schools, sanitation, policing. And so I feel like, as a representative of the community, that, you know, I want to have a better understanding of making a decision, you know, what input goes into or feedback comes from them. And I wish we could see, I feel like I need more information sometimes.
So that information is given out to the districts, so, or agencies. So with that, you know, your fire marshal, the police department, all the agencies that you've mentioned, they have the opportunity to attend the meetings that we have as far as pre-apps. They'll give comments if there's some concerns. The staff report will either mention concerns that those different agencies have, or to give a recommendation for a condition. So those things are included in there. If you're not seeing it, it's just because there hasn't been major concerns raised in that area. So I don't want y'all to think that these agencies aren't being communicated with. They are. That is something we are required to make sure that they're doing within our own procedures, because we have to make sure zoning is something that doesn't necessarily just affect the applicants. It's affecting the city as a whole, or even the region. So we include every one of those conversations and every one of those meetings.
And they all had a part in the future land use development and all that type of stuff.
So our comprehensive plan is being drafted now. So we're meeting with all of the agencies, public safety, WSA, even economic development with Georgia Power, Greystone, you name it. They're all included in these conversations so that we can predict and project with them as a region. So they're giving us their input and thoughts. We're even conversing or meeting with Douglas County to see how they could play a part in the future of Douglasville. So it's a very grand discussion being had at a larger scale than just the decisions being made here at this podium.
Well, I think when you have meetings with these people and they say, yeah, we can handle that, or yeah, we don't see, you know, this being a problem. But that's why I asked if you guys have a map with all these developments and how many homes are going up in each of these, to see, because I think if you actually had a map and then you started plotting little thumbtacks where all these developments are going in, and people saw it, they would say, wait a minute, whoa, 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 whoa. I think we might have an issue here. Because if you look at the amount of developments and subdivisions that have come before us and townhomes and stuff, you're adding a lot of people. There's a lot, and the traffic and the roads. I mean, when I moved here in 2004, they said that Douglas County was like 8 to 9 years behind in road work, like doing the roads. I've been here 18 years, I still haven't seen that road improvement. Is still, a lot of it's the same, so.
Fairmont Road Bridge is looking good.
Yeah, it's finally, but yeah, it's finally looking good, but that's what I'm saying, is if you look at all the subdivisions going in, how does that look in a big picture on a map?
So we have a zoning map, right? And we have a future land use map, and we try not to go outside of the zoning map as well as the future land use, because that has been how we've planned the community. So when decisions are being made, you're always going to see the staff over here. We're going to make sure that we're mentioning what the future land use calls for, as well as what the current zoning is nearby. So we're looking at those things based on that. So if you're seeing development and it's meeting the zoning code, that means we've planned and it's going in the direction as we've planned, and whatever roads that are necessary, whatever water extensions, sewer extensions have already been planned for based on what that future land use map creates. It's when we deviate from what the plan is where there cause concern. So if we want another session, I think it would be great to have it. I believe your meeting is still in session, so I want to make sure that if there's any other questions, I can answer. But I don't know if you want to come off the subject of the meeting, but I just wanted to say that your meeting is still in session.
Make a motion
Okay.
to adjourn.
All right. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Yep.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, on the other side of, how do we